a midwinter break. Thank you both for getting all your stuff in on resumes and job descriptions. I got all that up. Everybody got their stuff in today, so it's all been sent off to BDO. They'll start calling people to set up interviews for later this week or next week.
Good evening again, everybody. Welcome to our council meeting of February 9th, 2021. Thank you for the councillors for attending, and welcome to our YouTube viewers and our listeners that are taking part on our system that we have for audio only of the virtual council meetings that we're holding. I would just note that we're going to have two members of council absent for this evening. One has sent word that there was nothing important on the agenda and would not be attending, and the other gave no reason. I point that out for the benefit of the ombudsman, who may or may not be viewing some of these virtual formats. I was in conversation with a representative of the ombudsman's office last week, and they are not investigate, I guess you'd call it investigating. They're reviewing the fact that we're having virtual council meetings, and they're seeking awareness of how we are allowing the public to participate in our council meetings and to be aware how decisions are made using these virtual formats for municipal councils. So that process is available. We're broadcasting live on YouTube at the moment, and we also have the audio capability for people, citizens, or anyone to dial in and listen to our meeting. And the information on how to reach the telephone number is on our municipal website. So I'll call the meeting to order. I would take a mover and a seconder to open tonight's meeting. Moved by Councillor Lagacé, seconded by Councillor Vaillancourt, that this meeting be opened at 7:01 p.m. All in favor? Carried. And this evening, we need to appoint our recording clerk for this meeting, and that would be Andre Gagne. So I would take a mover and a seconder to report to, moved by Councillor Vaillancourt, seconded by Councillor Lagacé, that Andre Gagne be appointed as the recording clerk for the purpose of this meeting. All in favor? Carried. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Oh, sorry. We have our meeting minutes. Our last meeting was held January 12th, 2021. I take a mover for the minutes of January 12th. Moved by Councillor Lagacé, seconded by Councillor Vaillancourt, that the minutes of the regular meeting held January 12th, 2021 be adopted as circulated. Any issues with those minutes at all? All in favor? Carried. And any disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Hearing none. We have no presentations or delegations this evening. minutes and reports of municipal committees and boards. As you are aware, most committees are dormant at the moment because of the COVID-19 situation. Has Planning Advisory had any conversation since our last meeting?
No, we haven't.
Okay. Fire Department?
No, just that they got a new truck, which, which is good news.
Yeah, sure is. Our new rescue van has arrived. We won't say safely. It had a little episode on its way here, I guess, coming across the country, but it's now safely tucked into our garage. Recreation Fitness has not had any meeting that I'm aware of. The library, I have not seen any minutes of late. Police Services and General Government have not either. Emergency Management meets weekly in their capacity under the locally declared state of emergency with relation to the COVID-19 pandemic, the minutes of which members of council receive each time. Our meeting for this week, if you were looking for your minutes, did not happen yesterday. We postponed the meeting until tomorrow morning because we were fully expecting the province to make substantial change under their stay-at-home order, provincial declaration of emergency, and all of the associated measures that go with it. And we were correct in expecting that, in that there is some jurisdictions that will start to move into the green zone of much more limited restrictions. The health unit that we're in, unfortunately, as of late, has had a number of cases develop, particularly in North Bay at the Lancelot apartment building. And as a result, with that developing, we are not joining the rest of some of the eastern districts in moving to the green zone. But overall, it's still the GTA that is the primary area of concern for COVID-19. Public Works, the Public Works Manager is here. And is there anything you'd like to add to our meeting this evening? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Our education process for cross plowing went very well. We issued 54 letters, and our last snowfall, most of them have been resolved. We're in the process of our landfill passes being changed over. We'll do an education process with that as well to inform our taxpayers before we move forward with that. We had a pretty drifty weekend as we participated with all the wind and snow. I don't think it was as bad as the Muskokas, but we did well. That's about it for this weekend. And since our last meeting, it's mostly snow removal and keeping up with our road system.
Okay, thank you. And in our in my notes here, it says we have one motion coming forward from Public Works. I'm not aware in my package what that motion is. Is there a motion in there? Okay. We'll come to that after then. All right, reports of non-municipal committees and boards. Phenom, there was a bit of a newsletter had come forward by email to us. Conservation Authority, is there anything you'd like to speak to there, Councillor Lagasse?
Yes, we had our meeting January 27th, and during the meeting it was discussed about the annual general meeting and the electronic, the elections discussion. So we're having trouble in Zoom to do this a secret vote, secret ballot. So we're doing a test run tomorrow night to find out if we are indeed able to do it and iron out anything that could go wrong so that we can go ahead and do our our vote possibly at the end of this month. It'll be the last Wednesday, I imagine. On another note, we did hire an auditor, and which is Dean again, for this year. And also our septic systems permits were up last year, 28%, and it's estimated that they'll go up again this year. So there's a lot of people that are building and doing septics permits. Other permits are down, but at least the septic is up. And that's all my report for this month.
All right, thank you. I found the motion from Public Works that's there. It's related to the landfill. I guess if I read my paperwork, I will find my way, won't I? Before I leave reports of non-municipal committees and boards, Castleholme, there's mention later in our agenda related to Castleholme and its redevelopment project. The City of North Bay is seeking our support in their motion that they've circulated to the district municipalities. I'll speak more to that later, but there's still some confusion there related to the financing of the new Castleholme. I'll go back then to the motion that I skipped from Public Works. It's listed here as potentially motion number 4, and it's related to the landfill site monitoring contract. I trust everybody has the documentation in front of them on that. I take a mover for that. Moved by Councillor Lagacé, seconded by Councillor Vinecore. I'll read the motion now and then we can have any discussion that's warranted. Whereas a request for quotation was prepared regarding the landfill site monitoring program and 2 quotes were received. After careful review, the Public Works Manager recommends to Council to hire Pinchin for a 3-year service agreement at a price of $35,937 for the landfill site monitoring program, and that the attached contract be signed by the Mayor and the Public Works Manager advise Pinchin accordingly. Be it hereby resolved that Council approves of this recommendation. Is there any questions at all on this one? All in favor? Carried. Just for public information, this is an engineering firm that studies the test wells that we have at our landfill site and ensures that the groundwater and so forth are within acceptable limits at those particular test wells, and they take readings at different points in the year. There's no notices of motion for this meeting. Introduction and consideration of bylaws. A first, second, and third reading of bylaw 2021-7, and that's the interim tax billing bylaw. And for those of you shuddering at home, the interim tax bill is always exactly half of what your total tax bill was the previous year. So I would take a mover to table the interim tax bill bylaw, moved by Councillor Vinecore, seconded by Councillor Lagacé. Whereas Council deems it necessary and expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy for the year 2021 be read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered 2021-7, and that the said bylaw be signed by the Mayor and Clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions on this one at all? All in favor? Carried. Our second bylaw, 8.2, is a first, second, and third reading of bylaw 2021-6. That being a bylaw to constitute and appoint a committee of adjustment for the year 2021. I'd take a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Legacy, seconded by Councillor Vinepour. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to constitute and appoint a committee of adjustment for the municipality be read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered 2021-6, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book, and that this bylaw be posted on the municipal website for public information purposes. Any questions on this one? The Committee of Adjustment remains all members of council. All in favor? Carried. Disbursements. I'd take a mover and a seconder for the disbursements, and then we can have some discussion about any line items prior to calling the vote on it. A mover for the disbursements, moved by Councillor Vinepour, seconded by Councillor Legacy. Any questions on the disbursements at all? Councillor Vinepour?
Just a couple on some software line on the first one, page 1. You got Baker and Associates, some other software with 5,900, and then another software from for 4,500. Just wondering what that was for the office or for Public Works, or
I'll let the
Andre?
CAO speak to that, or the recording clerk, either one. So that I don't
Once
do all
is
the
free.
talking tonight.
I'll let Andre do that because she told me that this wasn't gonna come up, so she owes me a lunch.
Okay.
Okay, so Baker, that is the accounting and tax software that we use. So that's the annual IT support.
Okay.
The Diligent Canada, that's our agenda notes that we do for agenda software.
All right. And then we have a toolkit. I guess that's
That's the toolkit material, Counselor, that I sent out to all my colleagues and members of council. It was developed by our consultant, Gary Fay, who's helping us put together the community well-being and community safety and well-being plan.
okay. Thanks.
Yes, Councillor Legacy.
On page 2 of 5, under protection and persons, we have a new camera. What's it for?
Andre, you want to
That's
handle
a-
that one?
Sorry. That's the camera that we bought for the township, and it's in protection to persons, but that also includes building. And it was bought to replace the old one that the building department used to use and is no longer compatible.
Okay, thank you. And then my next question is for Public Works. On page 3 of 5, regarding the backhoe and all the repairs. We're still broken, our backhoe. We're having a hard time with our backhoe.
Our newer backhoe is not listed here. It's the older backhoe. So the old backhoe had a problem shifting out of gear. And we also are preparing to put a new axle in the front. It's 17 years old and it's very dependable. And I think that it's worth every penny that we keep it, especially when we use our other backhoe to do work. And then we come back to the pit to reload a truck. We have the old backhoe back there. It's, like I said, it's a super good machine, and I think it's worth keeping it and fixing it.
I agree. It does help the other one. Then you don't have so much running around to do.
Yeah.
But it needed, I needed a new window again.
No, that was putting in,
still-
yeah, there,
It's still
Yeah.
from the other one,
yeah, we
just
just,
the installation fee.
Yeah.
All right. And those are all my questions. Thank you.
you're welcome.
The only one I have is the, I'll see you in a second there, Councillor Vinecourt. The disbursement this time shows both fuel oil for a furnace and propane at Public Works. Have we now converted completely over to a propane furnace there?
No, it's still in process of being installed, the propane. However, due to COVID, they're having issues getting the boiler system to the shop. So we have everything set up, the propane tank's there, and it's filled. However, we're still using our furnace with the fuel oil.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was a question from Councillor Vinecourt.
Just one more on page 4 of 5 on the HP engineering for the bridge report. Is that
Yeah.
all our bridges in the township, Ann, or?
Yes, it is. So every 2 years, we have to do an OSIM report for our bridges and culverts. It's a mandatory requirement. So it was done last year. We just received the billing. So that is actually going to be reflected in last year's budget. And as soon as the report's in our hands, we can have a discussion about what it states. Oh, okay.
Okay. Is there any other questions related to the disbursements? Okay. So I'll read the motion again then, that the following disbursements be approved as prepared. All the departments, which is under file number APO 5617, with a subtotal of $235,668.75, and payroll batches 1123 through to 1127, amounting to $58,937.48, for a total disbursement of $294,606.23. Last call for questions on that. All in favor? Carried. Okay. My agenda has ran away. My disorganizational skills are on full display for everybody this evening. Okay. Correspondence and information. First item is MAD, message for the yearbook and advertising information. There's a business card size ad that we typically purchase in their yearbook, and the cost is $299 plus taxes. Is there a mover and a seconder to participate in that this year? Moved by Councillor Vinecourt, seconded by Councillor Lagasse. That the Corporation of the Township of Bonfield supports MAD Canada's vision to stop impaired driving and to support victims of this violent crime by placing a business card size ad in the MAD message yearbook at a cost of $299 plus applicable taxes. Questions? Yes, Councillor Lagasse.
Did we, what did we do last year regarding the MAD?
Because of all the missed meetings last year, it just did not go on council's agenda. So in speaking with Dawn, they said it was better to just wait till this year and move forward, but we've always put in the ad in the past.
All right, because I didn't remember it last year. Thank you.
Any other questions on the subject? All in favor? Carried. The next item is the 2021 census. We have correspondence from the federal government related to that, or Census Canada, I should say. And they're looking for a motion of support encouraging our citizens to participate in the census. Is there a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Lagacé, seconded by Councillor Vinecore. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Bonfield supports the 2021 census and encourages all residents to complete their census questionnaire online at www.census.gc.ca. Accurate and complete census data supports programs and services that benefit the community. Yes, question, Councillor Lagacé?
I just wanted to add that they'll be having a hiring process, and approximately 32,000 people across the country. And it's important to fill the census out this year because it'll help with services for people that have children, school, daycare, family services, housing, different things like that, emergency response. So it is important for the residents to complete this survey. And that's all I wanted to add to that.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Next item is our 2019 Building Department Annual Financial Report. And this is something that as part of our having a building department, it's mandatory that we declare a financial report each year. And this is the 2019 version of that. Does the CAO have anything he'd like to add to that?
Well, just as I said every year, and the CBO has mentioned at budget meetings, we're not allowed to run a department, a building department where we make money. So the fact that we have a deficit every year is planned that way and expected. It's slightly less than it was. It's increased somewhat from the last 2 years, but that's again a series of circumstances. But as I said, the fact that we ran a deficit is what's actually required by law. We're not allowed to run a building department where we make money. Oh, and as the mayor said, the filing of the statement is required by law. The deficit is covered in our budget, so that's it. Just the report is showing that there was a deficit, and as I said, we're required to run a deficit, but it's covered by the department budget.
All right, thank you. On that note, then, if there's any other questions related to that, we have a motion acknowledging receipt of that report. I take a mover and a seconder for that report. Moved by Councillor Lagacé, seconded by Councillor Vinecore, that the Building Department's 2019 financial report submitted by Doug A. LaPlante, CBCO, be accepted as prepared. All in favor? Carried. Item 5, the Town of Mattawa, motion of support related to the Amber 8 light system. This is a system of additional lighting on school buses. Also of note, there was the Adam campaign had also corresponded with us related to enhanced cameras that they have now on the stop arm of the school buses. That's a pilot project that was funded by private sources in the Mattawa area. And they had a virtual launch of the stop arm camera system that Mattawa was the recipient of, because that tragedy happened in their area. On the motion of support for the town of Mattawa, I don't see it in our list. Oh, there it is. It's motion 12. Okay. I skipped the hazardous waste again. Okay, that's why I'm off track here. We're moving just one motion ahead related to the town of Mattawa and their Amber 8 light system on the school buses. Would there be a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Lagasse and seconded by Councillor Vinecore. The council supports the resolution of the town of Mattawa advocating that the province of Ontario implement the Amber 8 light system on all school buses for the safety of all students who utilize school buses. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. My apologies again. I'll go back now to item number 4, City of North Bay participation in the Household Hazardous Waste Program. This is something that we annually participate in and allows us to dispose of all of those nasty things that would otherwise end up in our landfill site or other places of storage where they shouldn't be held long term. Is there a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Lagasse, seconded by Councillor Vinecore. That the Council of the Township of Bonfield recommends continuing participating in the Household Hazardous Waste Program with the City of North Bay for the year 2021 at the cost of $2,010. Any questions on this one? Yes, Councillor Lagasse.
I go to the Household Hazardous Waste depot in North Bay, and they asked me what municipality I'm from, and so not all municipalities do join there. And I was wondering if it was on our website to let our residents know that they can bring their hazardous waste there.
It's included on all of our landfill passes.
Just as a point of note on that, we're moving in the near future to an electronic landfill pass. On the card itself, does it indicate any such information like that? No? Okay.
I'm not sure because we're able to design the cards ourselves. So I'll let you know about that.
Okay. All right. Item 6, application to license the Shore Road allowance from Andrew Restool at 11 Andrews Lane to build a storage shed. There's the ability in our municipality, if you don't own your Lakeshore Road allowance, to license it through the municipality, and you can do so then and apply for building permits and so forth. Would there be a mover and a seconder for this motion? Moved by Councillor Lagasse, seconded by Councillor Vinecore. Whereas Andrew Restool has submitted an application for license to use a portion of the Shore Road allowance on his property at 11 Andrews Lane to build a storage shed. And whereas the Director of Planning and Development has reviewed this application and recommends to Council to approve Andrew Restool's proposal to license a portion of the Shore Road allowance as per the attached application, with a condition that all permits be obtained from the North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority Oceans and Fisheries, and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, if required, prior to issuing the license. Be it hereby resolved that council approves of this recommendation. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. Item 7, the Bonfield Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. Is there an update to be had on that particular subject? It's the quietest he's ever been.
I thought I unmuted myself. I actually muted myself. No, that was put on as a placeholder. I just wanted to bring you and council up to date that the next two steps in the development of that plan is the setting up of the advisory review committee. And I'm going to be sending you, Mr. Mayor, an email tomorrow or Thursday about a suggestion that the committee be a subcommittee of the Police Services Board. I mentioned this to you before. It's what's being done in a number of municipalities. Staff Sergeant McMullen says it's a good idea. A lot of what the data that we'll be collecting in the plan, the safety data, will come from the OPP. So it won't be a functioning committee of the Police Services Board. Just want to use that structure. And as I said, other municipalities in Nipissing and in Northern Ontario are using the same format. So I'll send you a note on that. And then the other thing is I was waiting to get some suggestions from council about people that might be approached to sit on the committee. I have Councillor Lagasse, and I appreciate that very much. She was the first one to volunteer after I talked to her. And I also have Lisa Lard has volunteered to sit. So in the meantime, if anybody has any other names, we need to start. I need to start pushing on that because that committee is vital to this whole process. We need to get it set up. We've got, as we noted on the disbursements, we have a toolkit to obtain data from our residents and stakeholders and special interest groups and so on. But we need that Citizens Advisory Review Committee. That's what's going to drive the whole process. So I need some names. I have some suggestions myself, but if you have any names that you'd like to suggest that we approach, please send me an email or give me a call. That's the update, George.
All right, thank you. Any questions on the subject at the moment from council? Yes, go ahead, Councillor.
Just a quick one, Peter. How many? What's the timeline for getting names? A week or a month?
Well, no, it can't be a month, Councillor, because as I mentioned at a previous council meeting, the deadline at the moment is July 31st to have this done. And we're now into the middle of February. A number of municipalities all over Ontario have sent petitions and emails into the province to get an extension on that. But until that happens, we're looking at July 31st. So I would say of your two options there, sometime in the next week would be good if we can do that. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Item 8, St. Bernadette Parish requesting a contribution towards their annual parish picnic. I'm certain they're of concern with COVID-19 of how they're going to evolve their picnic for the year 2021. But we have the subject of the annual donation that we make. We usually sponsor the production of the 50/50 tickets in some form. Is there a mover and a seconder for that tonight? Okay, moved by Councillor Vinecourt, seconded by Councillor Lagasse, that the St. Bernadette Parish has requested council's consideration in a donation towards their annual parish picnic to be held July 25th, 2021. Be it hereby resolved that council approves and the figure that they had sought, I believe was $300, was I correct? $200? Okay. Be it resolved that council approves a $200 donation. All in favor? Carried. Item 9, the flyer discussion. Update on Our Lives Matter. Our Lives Matter, you may recall, was the controversial flyer that had circulated in the municipality, I want to say in August. Exact date escapes me, but it has been brought to my awareness that that particular flyer was, it would appear, circulated by a member of council. Unfortunately, that member of council is not attending our meeting this evening, so we'll have to refer this item to the next meeting to ask further questions. The documentation that was provided to me lately that demonstrates that it was sent by a member of council shows the home address, and it also describes it as a political flyer. And it certainly does have some political connections in the fact that it paints the municipality as myself and the municipality and certainly other members of our team and administration as being equivalent to murderers. So that in itself is quite something. But the fact that at the time it didn't have any contact information or signature or other such things is even more concerning. So because we're not able to get some feedback on the document that was circulated throughout the community, we'll have to refer it until our next meeting. Moving on to information, City of North Bay motion of support for Castleholme. The motion that the city circulated speaks to 2017, and I'll have to pull my file together that I have on that, because I'm quite certain that after 2017 and the city had tabled that motion, that there was agreement among the parties at a meeting at Castleholme that directed Castleholme to obtain the financing on all the member municipalities' behalf. And there seemed to be agreement in that respect at that point in time. Whether the city of North Bay ever acknowledged that officially by motion, I can't recall at this point in time. So I think for tonight, I would appreciate if we would not support or not support the city's motion until some clarity can be found there. There was supposed to be a virtual meeting, and Councillor Vinecourt, you and I were signed up to be kind of members on this financing discussion at some point in time. They haven't called that meeting yet. I had last week, or on the 4th of February, I thought I had missed the meeting because some date stuck in my head. So it could well be the 4th of March that meeting is going to happen. There was Bay Today and Nugget coverage of it when the city was thrashing it out related to this subject. So Castleholme has not called a meeting, a financing meeting that I'm aware of or have received any invitation to, but when we do, I'll share it with you in case you can attend that. But from my point of view, and East Ferris also had some concerns with this financing situation. It's much in line with further in our agenda, the seniors housing request, in that the major concern that the member municipalities have with the Castleholme financing is that if it shows against our debt servicing limit for the next 25 years, because it's such a substantial sum, it really handcuffs municipality's ability to borrow for other things that they do over the next quarter century. So we'll wait to see what the Castleholm board does next as far as clearing the air on this, because you may or may not have seen also the CEO of Castleholm, Jamie Lowry, through a letter to the editor type thing, basically called out the city of North Bay and as much as said, you're not living up to your word. And this is the response that it generated from the city. So there's quite a disconnect there between the management of Castleholm and the city of North Bay, who, as we know, is the majority shareholder owner of that facility. We're just kind of along for the ride as a minority owner of that facility, but it has a very real potential to turn sour or more sour than it currently sits. Item 2, the COVID kits distribution. There's a number of kits have went out through various channels, the health medical center, food bank, and the Lions through their Christmas baskets. Is there many still available for those who would need one?
Here at the township office, I only have 3 kits remaining. I believe Canada Post received maybe a dozen. They've distributed theirs also. So there may be some left at the food bank and Dr. Steinberg's medical center.
Andre, how many people showed up at the office you were telling me to access a kit?
I had 18 last Friday and only 3 left.
Mhm.
Good. It's good that we've got them out and doing their purpose. Any questions on the COVID kits at all? Okay. Seniors housing, item 3, seniors housing, previous motions are included in our package tonight, just to bring us to awareness of what we've committed to date related to seniors housing. And the CAO, through his weekly report, had asked us over a week ago, maybe it's 2 weeks ago now, if we had any questions related to their latest correspondence. They're looking for a limited mortgage guarantee for the financing of the facility, or any other questions related to the seniors housing project that we want to ask their consultants or the board itself directly. The CAO is willing to compile those questions and forward them on to seniors housing prior to us having a virtual conversation with them at some point in the future. So just reminding you of that. There's no new business that I'm aware of. There's no addendum. So we've moved to confirmatory bylaw. I'd take a mover and a seconder for it. Moved by Councillor Vinecore, seconded by Councillor Lagasse. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council from January 12th, 2021 to February 9th, 2021, be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2021-5.
Connected to the conference and will attempt to end it. If you wish for the lines to remain connected, please press any key.
Our conference call was going to sleep. I'll start over. Yes. Whereas council deems it expedient to pass 3 readings of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council from January 12th, 2021 to February 9th, 2021, be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2021-5, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. All in favor? Carried. Once again, I thank you for your participation this evening. It enabled the administration to get the tax bills, interim tax bills, out on schedule. And the we'll be busy this week stuffing envelopes and so forth with those. I take a mover and a seconder to adjourn this meeting. Moved by Councillor Lagasse, seconded by Councillor Vinecore, that this meeting be adjourned at 7:48 p.m. All in favor? Thank you and good evening.